Henshin Inspection presents Rider Tears. This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. You can find all my work at mjmunoz.com. Join me as I talk about Kamen Rider Gavv Episode 1. So, this episode is entitled A Snack Kamen Rider, or something to that effect. It was kind of interesting. I wasn't really excited about Gavv. It's been a while since I totally skipped over the Kamen Rider, what was that, Gotchard? I totally skipped over that because I was doing other things and I thought it wasn't going to be a good idea for me, but I decided I'll come back with this. I'm covering the newest Ultraman as it's coming out, and I'm trying to get more into the Tokusatsu game, so I figure, here we go. Let's check this thing out and see how I like it. I'll be honest, I thought it was stupid from the outset of it with the gummies and everything. The gimmicks are, kind of ridiculous, and they get worse every year, it seems, to me, but I gave the episode a fair chance, and I honestly liked it. So this originally aired September 1st, 2024. It's September 3rd as I'm recording this, and it'll be released the same day. The writer of it is Junko Kimura, and the director is Teruaki Sugihara. Just for those people who don't know, Junko Kimura, she was the main writer for Wizard, actually. And I'm sorry, she wasn't the main writer for Wizard, but she wrote a lot of Wizard. Sorry. She is credited as the head writer for Wizard. I guess that was the first time she was the head writer. I think she'd worked on the previous Super Sentai as well. But yeah, so she was the... Oh, how funny. Huh. How interesting. Apparently she's appeared in Wizard Drive and Gavv, but she was the head writer, credited as the head writer in, obviously, Gavv? I don't know, whatever. Wizard, and she was in... she was a head writer for Kamen Rider Gavv, writer for Kamen Rider Wizard, and Kamen Rider Drive. So that doesn't mean she was the head writer for those. Okay, got it. That's what I thought, but I was second-guessing myself. It's been a while since I've watched Wizard, but she even wrote the second episode of Wizard with Tsuyoshi Kida, though, who was I believe he was the main writer for Kamen Rider Wizard. Okay, yes. And he wrote the first half of Kamen Rider Hibiki. Okay. That's why I remember that name. And Teruaki Sugihara, he's worked on a bunch of 01, Saber, Revice, a bunch of Geats, not everything though. Like a handful, about anywhere from, well, increasingly more and more, so that's good. Anyway, so I thought like I said, from the outset, I thought that the premise was stupid, and it looked really ridiculous, and I don't understand why it has to be gummies, and it's this is a Japanese children's television show, and while I typically like that, it was very, very childish, very kiddie in the presentation of some of the things, but at the same time, it is, Kamen Rider, and it does have that different, I'm not going to say edge, because it's not edgy, as a different side to it, where you have this, ridiculous premises, ridiculous setup. It's very much unlike Ultraman, where, Soma has, his auburn hair and, his bright outfit, and he acts a little bit like Ultras act like goofballs too in their civilian forms, but he's a weird guy. But it's explained because he's from another world, whether he's actually an alien or if he's from another dimension or what, it's unexplained. But I gotta say, despite all of that, and despite the ridiculousness of the premise, I decided to give it a shot, and I was pleased with some things, because I gave it a fair shot, and seeing Soma's heroism in a couple different forms was really enjoyable for me, and I really liked something deep within his character. I liked something core about his character. He's found by this kid Hajime, and they start talking, and one of the things that Hajime says is about, he says something about his mother, basically, and that kind of triggers something within Shoma, and he has memories of his own mother, and his mother warning him when he was a child to stay away from the family's confections, to not eat them, and then his mother being taken away from him, he's an adult, he's 18, 19, whatever, the actor turned 19 while filming the first episode, I think, is what I read. So he's, fairly young guy, but, an adult still. Hopefully, no. I mean, he acts like a man. He acts like an adult in this, and I'll get to that, which is what really interested me and really made me think, oh, okay, maybe there's something here. Before he even transforms, before he's a Kamen Rider, before he's a hero, we see he has, amazing physical strength, and he puts himself on the line to save Hajime from getting hit by a truck, which was very interestingly reminiscent of, but in a comedic way, Kamen Rider the First. What he does, I think the first time he exhibits his powers in the not Hideaki Anno, Toshiki Inoue, Kamen Rider the First. There's the first, there's the next. Anyway, he wrote that one. And I don't remember who directed. Anyway, but it was a while ago. And it was the first, adult reboot type thing of Kamen Rider, where he was Hopper, not, Kamen Rider. And eventually, I guess he becomes Kamen Rider, but for sure he's Hopper in that. Anyway, and you get Rider 1 and Rider 2 within the first movie as well. Yes, you do. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But he checks this truck to save somebody. I believe it's a kid as well. But it's not played for laughs at all, whereas this is played for laughs, and it's funny. I actually laughed, that was funny, but also thought it was cool because he threw himself right in there in danger. But then later on, he's protecting Hajime as best as he can, and he's getting trounced by this bad guy. It's like dog or wolf, granite, something like that, granute. Let me see. Well, that stuff doesn't matter. But the bad guy, the monster of the week, he's getting trounced by him, and he's taking hit after hit after hit after hit. And I started liking him when he talked about loving his mom, and where he showed tenderness about his mom, and he showed a real emotional reaction to something, and he was sympathetic towards Hajime because Hajime was trying to get to his mom, and that kind of a cat on me earlier. That had that resonated with him. It struck a chord with him, and it made him want to help the kid a little bit even more. And then Hajime's being, which by the way, that kid did great. I hope he's going to be a series regular because, like I said, I think he did a fantastic job. And having the writer have a kid ally could be a lot of fun. He's kind of got attitude, and he calls Shoma stranger danger at some point, and he calls the chocolate, not chocolate, the beastie, wolfhound, whatever, bad guy who follows him, he calls him, he says, oh, stranger danger about this guy too, which is kind of funny. But when the kid's running from him, Shoma was just bringing him his little packet of snacks or whatever, or something. Oh, the seashells that he was taking to his mom. That's what it was. Kid was taking seashells to his mom, and Hajime had said something like, "It's the least I can do. She's my mom. Kind of like I'm a kid. I don't, I can't get anything for her really, but this is something I can give to her, and it's in gratitude for everything that she's done for him." And I thought that was a really sweet emotional core, and that touched Shoma, and that touched me as well. And then when Shoma comes running in to give him the shells, he also sees that he's in danger from this monster, and he tries to. He does this cool thing where he runs on the side of these shipping containers, and he saves them. And then he ends up telling him you go over there and stay away. And then he gets beat down a bunch, and he keeps getting back up, and he keeps getting hit and getting hurt by this monster. And then finally, the gummy things in his pocket, or that came out of his stomach, because he is this alien with this weird stomach that's like a drive. Or build driver, which I gotta say, the laziness of that, the design for that thing is stupendous. I cannot believe they just are recycling and kit bashing that friggin' belt, and they're not doing something better with it. There were all those imagination belts that they made that they had on the subway, or and in some place in Tokyo, where they were displaying all these crazy, they had a steampunk belt, which I think they cannibalized parts of that for Kamen Rider Black Sun's belt, and they had a couple other belts that were very inventive and imaginative that just they made for whatever reason. And instead of putting the effort into either steal something from those, or pull something else in, they just use the build belt. And the idea that this guy has a mechanical stomach thing that's on the outside of him, and it has a crank that it needs, is kind of crazy to me. I kind of got some Kiva vibes in here a little bit, but Kiva, this robotic bat thing that Kiva has as his belt / butler kind of guy, it blows the whistles on its own. He has to put the whistles in its mouth, and it blows them. It latches on, it bites him for him to transform. It flies around, and he catches it and it bites him and stuff. Like, there's interaction with the belt, but the idea that your stomach part would... I mean, I know you need to put food in your mouth in order for you to eat it, but the fact that he's got to put the gummies in there and crank them like this, it seems a little ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know what else they could have done. They could have had... I mean, I don't want to think about the mechanics of the belt right now on the fly, but it's, like, very silly and kind of dumb. But, I mean, here's the thing I'm saying. It's, like, a dumb, weird premise. It's super goofy, but then, like, you have these hard things. You have this guy who loves his mom and who wants to protect this kid who loves his mom and is trying to get back to her. And then the mom comes and she calls him a monster. She calls both him and the monster of the week a monster. And the monster's like, you see, you're a monster. You know, she's like, you should kill all humans because they think you're a monster. And he's like, no, she's right. I'm a monster. You're a monster. But the difference between you and me is I'm going to be the one who's alive after this. No, he doesn't say it like that. He's like, you're a monster who's bad. And he like starts the conversation, and then they have a long, cool, super cool fight. They're like in between, they're jammed in between these shipping containers, and they're like slicing them open, and you can see that, it's fake slicing it open, but they have an effect that works, that it looks like they slice the thing open, then you're seeing them through the, they're framed by that, and then Shoma's like holding himself upside down in between shipping containers, and they're fighting. He did this awesome thing where he slid off the end of a shipping container, and the guy was coming after him, and he sliced him from underneath, and that led to them being stuck in between the two fighting, and then he like slashes him, and it looks super cool. And then they go to this weird like shopping mall, like courtyard field area type of thing, and he tells him something there like it comes down to choice, and like you choose to do X with your power, and I'm choosing to do Y, and that's why I'm going to defeat you. And then he does his ridiculous gummy rider kick where his foot gets this giant gummy boot thingy on it. And he had already done a super cool rider kick type thing that I'd never seen before, where he, the guy's like flying through the air, I think. Yeah, the monster's flying through the air, and he runs up to the edge of a building, and he stops on the end of the building, stops on a dime, and kicks the guy as he's flying through the air, and he flies off. It's amazing. So, like, they have, like, really cool ideas and really cool things that they're doing. And like really cool, like just like awesome stuff that they're doing, and then they're packaging it with all this weird gummy stuff that I don't really get and don't really like. And then like when he beats the guy, like there's an explosion of gummies around him, and I know like these CGI elements, like the guy turns into a hound and he has to chase him, and he's on this like ATV, gummy wheel thing with like bullets coming out of it and whatever. It's like super hyper ridiculous, and I just don't get like why, like this level of choicness is really silly. And I don't really get it, especially because like the old stuff sold with just like, it's a cool design, and there's monsters that he fights, and there's the bike, and there's the mask and the belt, and like I don't understand like why you can't make a belt cool without having a ridiculous gimmick to it every single time. I would think you'd be able to make the belt pretty cool by having stuff that you put in there. But I was thinking about it, like who does it? Well, like Yu-Gi-Oh, for example, it's a card game only, right? But you've been able to have and it's a very successful card game, but apparently so is like the One Piece card game or whatever. So like I'm just thinking, like, there's other ways to sell these shows. Like, you'd have a Kamen Rider show, and you could have an interesting design for each guy, a very unique design for each guy. You could have the belts, and you could have other accessory weapon type things. But I would think you'd be able to just sell the roleplay toys, but you could not sell the roleplay toys. You can give them all card belts, and then you can have the cards be like the cards in the trading card game, for example. And I think that's a lot cheaper to produce in a lot of ways than all these toys. Maybe the ROI is smaller, I'm not sure, but it just seems like, I don't know. It seems kind of crazy and ridiculous. I'm like, I was thinking, like, I'd be so embarrassed if somebody was watching me watch this because, like, it's ridiculous. And I'm slightly embarrassed of it myself. But I can see past some of the ridiculous stuff to see, like, okay, there's something, like, there's a story here. There's something cool here going on. Something interesting going on with these characters and with this world. And I don't quite know what the conflict is. I don't really care at this point. I don't know how long I'm going to stick with Gavv or whatever. But there's something good. Like, I liked this episode. It was actually pretty cool. And I think there's something there. So anyway, a couple things I wanted to say. So Hidezaku Chinen is the actor who played Shoma, and I like him. I think he did a really good job. I think there's definitely something there, and I appreciate him. and his performance, which I think I've talked about adequately. I just wanted to put his name out there and say what I had to say. Apparently, Teruyaki Sugihara told him to watch. So this is information from the wiki. He told Sugihara told him to watch 01 to prepare for the role, noting that like Arthur Hidenshoma is very bright in personality. Shinen also took heavy inspiration from Fumiya Takahashi's portrayal of the character in both physical action scene and behind the booth ADR sessions. Very interesting. So he did at the very end of the episode when he like was about to get on his motorcycle, he had a very Aruto feel, and that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, if he kind of copied him, I could see that, or drew inspiration from that performance. I can see that. So I think that's really interesting. And again, I think he did a great job, even in his civilian fight when he like is getting beat up and stuff. And then he also does this like really cool kick where he like jumps and does like a 2-footed kick against the monster. Super cool. So I really like Shoma. He's a pretty cool guy, and I think Hidesaku Chinen does a really good job portraying him. And then I wanted to note that the suit actor, the suit acting was fantastic as well. I mean, I talked about the box and the kicking at the edge of the roof and all this stuff, and I want to know, like, they were on a wire, is it a fake roof, is there like a CGI blue ledge that they painted out or whatever? I don't know, but whatever they did, it was fantastic, it was magical. I was like, I stopped and looked at that again because I thought, that's amazing. But that's Yuya Nawata, who acted as the suit actor in 01. He was Kamen Rider Revi in whatever that next show was. He was Buffa, who was sort of like secondary antagonist writer from Geats, and then now he's Gavv. So I think Revi was from the previous. It's the pink and purple weird dinosaur JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Kamen Rider type thing. So anyway, yeah, just wanted to give a note to those guys because there's something to appreciate there, and there's something to say. So anyway, with that, that's gonna end my conclusion. That's gonna end my conclusion of talking about Kamen Rider Gavv episode 1. Overall, I liked it. I liked it more than I thought I would, and I was surprised by it pleasantly. So that's cool, and I'll check out a few more, and we'll see where we go from here. So until next time, folks, take care and be well. And
I hope you enjoyed that. Subscribe to keep up with me. Like and share to help me reach more people like you. And go to mjmunoz.com to find your next favorite thing. And don't forget to let your voice be heard. Stories are always better when you're part of the conversation. Until next time, be well. This is MJ signing out. This has been a Story Over Everything production.